this is objective 3, day 2, and I'm going to start with just problems 1 and 2. And I need a pen. Okay, so these two problems both deal with tables and graphs. In fact, most of these problems do. And for numbers 1 and 2, you should have gotten B and A. So on number 1, the tables below show the amount of data in kilobytes that was downloaded by a computer over time. Which of the following tables represents a linear function? You guys have to think back to middle school when you did these types of problems, and you need to see what numbers add to give you the various numbers. So, for example, 65 to 135 should be, I'm trying to remember, it should be 65? Yeah. So 65 plus 65 equals 130, right? From 130 to 180 is 50, and from 180 to 215 is 35. I may have my math wrong, but you get the point that all these numbers are different. That's not going to be linear, okay? And you notice that these all increment by the same amount. So then all three of these should increment by the same amount, okay? Over here, from 35 to 80 is 45. From 80 to 125 is 45, so that's okay. But then from 125 to 50 is 25, so that doesn't work, okay? If you go here, from 45 to 90 is 45, 90 to 135 is 45, and then 135 to 180 is still 45. And these are all 10, 10, and 10, so that's good. If we do the last one just to check, 40 to 80 gives you 40. 80 to 110 is 30, and 110 to 140 is 30. So you see that B is the only right answer. If you needed to see this as a graph, you could graph these points. We'll say 10, 20, 30, and 40. And then we'll say that this is 50, 100, 150, 200. Okay, so we can see with B that if we graph that out, let me write these. At 10, it should be 45, so it's right under the 50. 20 goes up to 90, so it's right under the 100. 30 goes up to 135, so it's like there-ish. And then 40 goes up to 180, so it's about there. And I didn't graph it very well, but that's basically a line. If you were to look at some of these other ones, I'll show you how they're not a line. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so like let's look at number or letter D. 10 to 40 is about there. 20 goes up to 80, which is about there. 30 goes up to 110, which is right, that probably even put it a little bit too high. And then 40 goes up to 140. So you can see this kind of starts to curve a little bit. So if you graphed all of them, you would see that the only one that really goes super straight is B. And of course, if you're taking your actual tax test, you would have, in the very last page would be a graph paper. And so you could actually graph these out and make them really precise and just be really sure about it and use your formula chart as a ruler, okay? All right, and then this one, which one best represents this graph? So I'm going to start by solving for y. Okay, no, that doesn't fit. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So on this side, I have negative y left. And over here, I have negative 5 minus 4x. And then I need to get rid of that negative, so I'm going to divide everything by negative 1. Oops, that's a 1, not a 7. So that cancels, and you get y equals positive 5, positive 4. Okay, so we need something, oops, that's 4x. We need something that has a y-intercept of 5. Here's a y-intercept of 5. This one doesn't, that's negative 5, so that doesn't work. This one has a y-intercept of 5, and this one doesn't, so that doesn't work. Okay, and then we see that it's going to be a slope of positive 4. So from here, I'm going to go to this line here, for example. Or, sorry, not that one. Actually, you could stop there because you see that your slope is positive 4. And if you look at D, that slope is going to be a negative because it's going downhill. So you really don't even have to find the slope. You can see that if it's going uphill, it has to be positive. So A is the only one that has this y-intercept of 5 and then a positive slope.